So I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak before you. As my topic, I chose to share with you some thoughts about the elections and the electoral process in my country, the United States of America. Our electoral season is in full swing, 9 months from our national elections. I'm sure you've seen news coverage of the campaigns and, like most Americans, have tried to understand the constantly changing election scene. Let me make clear from the beginning that the U.S. electoral system is not perfect. In fact, Americans would say that our government isn't perfect either. We benefit from a system that Thomas Jefferson, who was our third president and one of the drafters of our Constitution, called the least worst of all government systems. More than a century later, British leader Winston Churchill, who, by the way, had an American mother, echoed Jefferson's description when Churchill described democracy as the worst form of government except for all those others that have been tried. Thomas Jefferson recognized that the people, society, were the ones who best could decide how they wanted to be governed. In 1820, he stated, "I know of no safe depository of the ultimate powers of the society but the people themselves." Through participation in elections, the people maintain that power. No democracy can exist without an effective electoral process. At the same time, democracy doesn't mean just holding elections. Elections give shape and meaning to the ultimate powers of society, to which Jefferson referred. Elections must be held on a regular basis. Elections must allow citizens the opportunity to decide their system of government. Elections must give the government marching orders. Elections tell the government officials, such as me, what policies and programs the citizenry most supports. Thus, elections must provide real choices on various governmental policies and programs. Citizens must have free access to information that will allow them to make an informed choice about candidates and issues. And citizens must be free to participate in the electoral process without fear or coercion. Will all democracies share these universal values? The electoral process itself varies from country to country. Both our history as a nation and our Constitution have contributed to creating some unique features of the U.S. electoral process. The Constitution defines the United States of America specifically as a federal republic. In its federal system, the United States has a strong central government, as well as government at state and local levels. Each level of government has clearly defined powers and responsibilities. In the case of the United States, those powers that are not explicitly given to the federal government belong to the states. The United States is a republic, and its citizens hold the power of government, but exercise their power through elected representatives. In a Republican system, we choose people to represent our views in national and state legislatures. We entrust our elected representatives to make decisions on our behalf. Particularly in such a large country as ours, it would be very difficult for citizens to vote directly on every issue. Additionally, the United States of America has a presidential system. As you know, in many parliamentary systems, the people vote for party slate, and the political party or coalition which wins the most votes then chooses a prime minister and/or a president. In contrast to parliamentary systems, the American president is elected separately from the legislature on the basis of personal popularity and the ideas agenda he or she presented as candidate. In the United States, the president is both head of government and head of state. Once elected, the president has the power to act on his or her ideas simply through the actions of the executive branch. The 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, knew this well. As America debated slavery during the Civil War, in 1862, Lincoln assembled his cabinet to get their opinion about his idea of issuing a proclamation to free slaves by presidential decree. Knowing that many supporters of the president did not agree with freeing the slaves, every member of the cabinet voted no. After listening to each vote, historians report that President Lincoln said, "I vote yes." That makes 7 no's and 1 yes. The yeses have it. He then issued the Emancipation Proclamation that reads slaves in the United States. However, the U.S. Constitution also reserves many powers for the legislative branch of government. Since we choose our legislative representatives separately from our president, we have had governments in which the president does not belong to the same party as the majority of members of the legislature. As most of you know, this is the case today in the United States. Before I discuss the challenges this situation can cause, allow me to share a bit more information about our electoral system. The American constitutional principle of federalism created a layered system of federal, state, and local governments. The United States has 50 state governments, plus the governments in counties, cities, towns, and villages, each with its own office holders. Our educational system, for example, is mostly managed at the local level by school districts. We have nearly 40,000 school districts, and for each district we elect school boards. This layered system can make the government very complicated and confusing indeed.